Let's go.
Greetings from Daytona Beach, Florida, the Daytona International Speedway. We are 3 days away from the Daytona 500. Qualifying races tonight, right now. It's the opening practice of the season for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. You want to feel old? Look at the drivers in this series. Hailie Deegan, Nick Sanchez. I will slide in Cup Series champion from 2020, Chase Elliott, who's racing here tomorrow night. And the new teammates, the rookies at GMS. Raja Caruth is there. You got Daniel Dye. Oh, we have got a great lineup coming your way in 2023. There are new teammates in the garage. I have some great teammates here in the booth. Welcome in, everybody, with the two-time Daytona 500 champion Michael Waltrip and Phil Parsons. I'm Adam Alexander. Say it with me. It's the Craftsman Truck Series in 2023. They are back. That is awesome. So many changes this year, Phil.
Yeah, we just saw some of the drivers that have switched positions, but we have the bigger story to me is a change in manufacturers among three major teams. How about led by KBM? So much success over the years with Toyota. They make the switch along with Kyle to Chevrolet with a whole new driver lineup. And then David Gilliland, he switches from Ford to Toyota, renames his team Tricon Garage. And Thorsport had so much success with Toyota, they're switching back to Ford. So all three of these major teams with major manufacturer switches, just among some of the changes we're going to see.
So much energy, so much excitement about these changes. But you know what, Phil? We're back at the same old Daytona. And nothing is better than winning a race at this historic racetrack. Getting that trophy, it gets your season kicked into high gear right off the bat. You feel invincible. And in fact, Zane Smith was last year, won here at Daytona and then won that championship. So this is my kind of time of year. Going racing for the first time. Slate's clean. Everybody thinks they're going to be the champion this year. It's just going to be a lot of fun to cover these races this year. And love my teammates. You guys are great, too.
I just love the fact the guy that's won here so many times is building up how big it is to win at Daytona.
I never won here, Adam. I don't know what that
I didn't either.
It's huge, Phil.
Is it?
You wouldn't believe it.
Congratulations to you. We look forward to hearing all about it. And now let's hear from our pit reporters. We start things off with Jamie Howe. Good afternoon, Jamie.
Well, good afternoon, Adam. One of those names that was mentioned early on was Raja Caruth, a new face with a new team. He did do 4 truck races last year, still looking to break into the top 10 in terms of results. But I talked to him this afternoon. He said, listen, I'm a completely different driver than I was, but I'm also a different man. He's now at 20 years old. He said he's got his head on his shoulders and he's in a good place mentally. He's got a new crew chief with Chad Walter. He's looking for great things to come in 2023. Amanda?
The last 2 drivers to win the Daytona 500 have gone on to win the championship in the same season. In 2021, it was that guy, Ben Rhodes, and in 2022, it is your reigning champ and defending race winner here, Zane Smith. I spoke to Zane prior to practice here today, and he said there is no place like racing in Daytona, coming into the infield, seeing the fans, but said super speedways are not his favorite to race at, but they are his favorite to win at. The 38 is a brand new truck this season. They'll shake it down here in practice.
And it's going to be a busy night, Amanda, for our reigning champ, because not only does he have truck practice right now, he's trying to qualify for the Daytona 500 in the dual races you'll see later on FS1.
And has to make it in through those duels. A lot on the line for Zane today, for sure.
You sold it off the top, Michael, about how special this place is. But just cutting the pictures and seeing it, it just magnifies what this place is all about. So let's go back to 2022. And this is how Zane Smith pulled it off. Overtime, wow. He gets it done.
Just as dramatic as you would expect out of these truckers. And look at Ben Rhodes. He was all over the back of Zane, just couldn't quite get there. What an exciting, thrilling finish it was to that race, and what a season for Zane and that team. And you know what I love about it, Adam? He and Ben, they're both back. They're here to go race for a championship again this year.
I talked to Ben down in the garage area this morning, and he said he's replayed that restart about 977 times, and what he could have done different to hold off Zane Smith.
Just would have probably liked to have dove lower sooner maybe to prevent that pass, but Zane he had a perfect restart. You know, sometimes you do everything right and a guy just beats you, and I think that was the case there.
But I thought Amanda had a great perspective down there in the garage. They're 1-2 at Phoenix. They come here to Daytona, and they're parked right beside one another in the garage to begin 2023. We'll open the track. We'll send them out. It's the opening practice of the campaign for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We're glad you're with us live on FS1.
Start with a bang, mix in some star power, and turn them loose. 500 miles from NASCAR's biggest prize. That's the Great American Race. The Daytona 500, Sunday at 2:30 Eastern on Fox.
Active psoriatic arthritis can slow me down. Now, Skyrizi helps me get going. Along with clearer skin, Skyrizi helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue in just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi to treat your skin and joint symptoms so you can get going. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
We were just about ready to open the track for Truck Series practice. Had some kind of a problem down in turn 1, so they're cleaning that up. But as you can see, these trucks have rolled out of the garage, out onto the pit lane. It won't be long before we turn them loose.
Yeah, I'd like to see. You see right now some drivers are lining up to draft, and then probably some have a different agenda. They just want to see where their truck is in a single truck run to see how much speed they have. But I think essentially they know that you're going to have to be able to draft to have a shot at winning this race.
That's exactly right. You saw Matt Crafton there. I spoke to him earlier today, and he was telling me, Phil, they planned on doing a little bit of drafting just to make sure the truck handled okay, a qualifying run or two to see how that would go. What I thought was really interesting, Crafton said, he said last year everybody was really loose. They really fought loose handling trucks. NASCAR's made a few subtle rule changes to the truck. He doesn't know how that's going to affect them, but it's something that we're certainly going to watch here. And as a race car driver, Adam, when you're ready to go at Daytona to get on the track for the first time, and they say, hold on, we got to wait a little while. You're like, darn.
You've been waiting all winter long to get on the racetrack.
And again, talking to Crafton, he said it's 20 years with him and Menards as sponsor together, which is
crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But he said, and Phil, you know how well, and we know Matt really well, and he's just a calm, cool, collected dude. He said, I'm more excited about coming to Daytona this year than I think I've ever been. He said, we finished strong in 2022. We're going to have a great season this year. I can't wait to get racing.
You know, crew chief Shane Wilson came on board late in the season, and that perked that team up a little bit. They showed some speed, as you were talking about.
Let's go back down to the garage and Amanda.
Well, it's good to see that truck out there on the track. He was the lone Thor Sport truck still in the garage here up till about a minute ago. The truck honestly went dead here as they got it started. The team, you can see first day jitters, everyone with their shoulders up. The hood was up there. The trusted duct tape was out, so I'm not sure exactly what happened underneath that hood, but happy to see that truck out. Talked to Ty earlier today. His focus in practice is to work on drafting ahead of race day tomorrow.
Amanda, Ty had a great 2022, in particular in the playoffs. Wins those 2 races, first of his career, advances to the championship 4. He's not playing nice, though, because he's one of the few drivers that didn't change teams in the offseason. So he said, you know what, I'm just going to change my number to screw with you guys. He was the 66 last year.
Same crew chief, everything.
Yeah, and now the 98 at Thor Sport.
Rolls right in behind Haley Deegan there. And that Ford Performance number 13 truck. We'll see who does what, Jamie, when this practice session gets rolling.
Well, one driver I'm going to keep an eye on is the driver of that number 43 from GMS. That's Daniel Dye. We talked about it a little bit earlier, making his Truck Series debut with that number 43. You know, the king, Richard Petty, was walking through the garage earlier today. He walked right past Daniel, and I'm standing next to him. He said, oh, my goodness, how about that? He was just soaking in all of these moments. He said, you know, when I was a kid, I wanted to race super late models. Then I got this pretty cool fire suit that had the Arc Menards logo on it. That was pretty awesome. And now I'm standing here in the NASCAR Truck Series garage with a fire suit that has my name on it. He's just soaking it all in, but he said, you know, I'm going to be really honest, I'm so incredibly nervous. He said he's been nervous since all the way back in Phoenix, Kansas, when they signed this contract. The last 3 months, he said he's been shaking. Today, those nerves finally starting to wear off, but he said, I don't really have anything intelligent to say about this truck right now. Come back, talk to me after practice, but it is really cool to see all the youth, this youth movement coming in, these kids that are getting a chance, and they're really feeling these moments and soaking it in. It's refreshing, Adam.
Well, no question about it. And I think the one thing for both Daniel and his rookie teammate Rajah Caruth, their veteran that will lead him in Grant Enfinger over at GMS. It's so nice to have a guy like that around when you're bringing in two youngsters.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think GMS has really done a nice job over the years. Remember, Brett Moffitt was there as kind of the elder statesman, if you were, to give these younger drivers something to gauge off of. And it's great to have Grant Enfinger, a multi-time winner here in the series, for these guys to do it.
It just makes me smile when you think of Richard Petty Walker. Remember when we were kids, you know, hanging around with your brothers down in the garage area, and you get to say hi to Bobby Allison. Those moments will last with those kids forever.
Phil, are you our elder statesman in the booth?
I think probably so, yeah.
Although Michael and I we're not rookies, that's for sure. We'll be right back to Daytona.
And the Daytona 500 is underway.
As everything around us keeps changing, one thing remains the same.
Showtime at Daytona. All the marbles on the table.
The Great American Race. On February 19th, the next chapter in this historic tale will be told. 500 miles, one checkered flag. It's the 65th running of the Daytona 500. And it's only on Fox.
The offseason is almost officially over. Inside of 72 hours until we turn them loose in the Daytona 500.
Special day. It's the biggest day in NASCAR of the whole season, and there's, I mean, you just never know what's going to happen at the end of this baby. Who's going to get that Harley J. Earl and take it home with them?
You know, and it happened to me again here, Michael, this time.
What happened?
As I drove through the tunnel, I just get that tingly feeling. And it's my entire lifetime, whether I was coming to watch my brother Benny race, whether I was racing, or whether I've been coming here to do TV, I still get that same feeling driving through this tunnel.
It's when you hop over that hump down into the tunnel, you just, everything flashes back. It's really
everything's right with the world when you drive through this tunnel.
Couldn't agree more, Phil. You want to talk to one of the drivers while we're waiting?
I feel like we should.
I'm going to surprise y'all. Hello, Zane Smith. It's Michael Waltrip and the boys up in the Fox booth. Do you copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, we've been anticipating this practice session for about 2 months, 3 months now, you know, getting ready to go again, and here you wait. How's it feeling? What's your goals? What do you need to accomplish during this session?
Yeah, just ready to get things going. It's been a busy week for me, going from now this to the Cup car. Going to be trying to race in tonight on the Cup side, but for this, we're just going to be trying to get a clean lap by ourselves to see what we'll have for qualifying tomorrow in our Love's Ford F-150. And then I want to roll back out there and see how good this new truck is in a pack. So we'll see shortly.
Well, that's cool. We'll know what to follow, see what's going on. Will you say you're back?
Yeah, I love it. Glad to be back.
I was hoping he would say, you're back, because obviously you wanted him to say, I'm back, and that would have been so fitting to answer your question that way.
Yeah, it's just really fun to be able to hop in the trucks with these guys. You can see Zane, he's got his game face on, but he takes a minute to talk about his sponsor, Love's, on his Ford truck.
Here's what you were referring to, Michael. He is back. And if you go back to 20 and 21, runner-up, makes it to the championship 4. He exits Phoenix at the end of the 2021 season, unsure of what he's going to do, where he's going to go. Changes teams, whole new operation. 4 wins last year, claims the title, and I think without a doubt coming into this year, you make him the favorite right away.
Yeah, I think so too. And he really, as you mentioned, he came to Daytona last year and put the stamp on himself as the favorite there and was really consistently good all year long. So I think the right guy won the championship. And can he go back to back?
He referenced what their plan is for this practice session. So we've got this delay. We have not received any word from NASCAR on extending this practice. We'll wait and see what may happen there. But less time on track or on the clock, can that change your thought process and what you try to accomplish in this practice session?
I think when you're a veteran like Zane is, no, it doesn't really change anything. You have to condense things, obviously, maybe spend a little bit less time in the garage between the 2 runs, but I don't think this is going to make much difference to any of these veteran teams. But, you know, if you take a guy like Travis Pastrana, who's out there trying to make this race and have a good run, he's just really anxious, along with a lot of the other drivers.
You know, I was thinking about how big this practice could have been for Travis Pastrana to get some track time if he needed to race his way into the 500 tonight. As it turns out, he was fast enough last night. He's into Big Show Sunday. We'll come right back. And now the moment we've been waiting for and forever. Trucks on track at Daytona. First time they've been hot since we exited Phoenix last November.
Obviously, this is the group that wants to get together and do a little drafting. They're not going to mess around with 2 or 3 truck drafts, doesn't look like.
Yeah, and it looked like Zane's sort of dragging his feet coming off pit road, getting a gap so he could see how his truck drives. Looks like he's going to maybe run by himself a bit. Differing agendas, we knew that would be the case. But with this condensed practice, we have not gotten word from NASCAR that it's going to be extended. So it'll be really interesting to see how quickly they get out of the drafting mode and decide to make a qualifying run, or even if they do or not. This is, Adam, as a racer, this is so eagerly anticipated. You just hope when you're drafting behind Matt Crafton, you see these trucks together, Haley Deegan there in the second spot in that little group. You're just hoping that you got something under you that can pull up on other drivers. You can get those runs. You can feel it right away, too, if you've got something special. These drivers are hoping that those trucks that they're piloting enables them to do just that.
Ben Rhodes, the only one of the team trucks not out there with ThorSport right now.
You talked to Ben about that, didn't you, Adam? Didn't he say that maybe we don't all practice together because we might not have enough trucks if we all crash?
He told me that he did not want to get the backup off the trailer. He said, I absolutely do not want to climb in that backup car. He said a few other things to describe it. I'll just leave that between he and I. And there he is sitting idle on the pit lane.
And that's one of the reasons he was talking about, and specifically Ben, he said, we talked about, will you want to go out with your teammates? Just like we saw that 3-truck draft of teammates. He said, I'm a little bit afraid because between the 4 of us, I think we only have a couple backup trucks, and they're not really very, what we would think would be really good. We put so much emphasis on these primary trucks. So I think that's why Ben Rhodes is still sitting on pit road, not to take a chance of being out there and some mechanical problem or cutting a tire down or whatever that could take multiple trucks from the same organization out.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you learn in a draft like this in compared to what they're going to face 24 hours from now when you put them all out there? I mean, this is not a realistic feel anyway, is it?
Yes, it is.
It is, okay.
Because you're going to learn how your truck handles, and that's what it's all about. Now, it's going to, if it's handling good, it's going to handle worse when they're all side drafting and all over each other like we're going to see tomorrow night. But if you've got a truck that's loose during this, you're going to come in and work on it because it's going to be just worse tomorrow. So these drivers, especially experienced veterans like Crafton and Majeski, Matt DiBenedetto, they will feel what they need to feel right away and say, all right, I got something we can work with here, guys.
Yeah, and single file is going to be different than 2 wide, 3 wide that we'll see probably as soon as they drop the green flag tomorrow night.
You talk about new faces and new places. We've got it in this draft here. Nick Sanchez won the ARCA championship driving for Rev Racing. They've got a partnership with Kyle Busch Motorsports. He's leading that draft in the 2. Behind him, his new kind of teammate Chase Purdy. Jack Wood is up there driving the 51, sharing time with Kyle Busch. Just in that one draft alone, you see a handful of drivers that have found a new home in 2023. And here's Travis Pastrana. He's electing to avoid the draft right now, Jamie.
And that's one thing that they're trying to get him more comfortable with is driving in the draft. You already said it. He qualified for the Daytona 500. He's using this as some important track time. And in terms of getting comfortable, one of the things that they're working on during the session is the size of the steering wheel. When he qualified last night, it was with this 14-inch steering wheel. But what they have in the truck right now is a 15-inch wheel. And it's only 1 inch of a difference. But you think how tall Travis is and how much room that equates to, and just the comfort factor when you are being pushed in that draft or drafting behind somebody else. They're trying to get him more comfortable. He's trying to take all the advice that he can. He said he's a little out of sorts right now. He likes having the smaller steering wheel, but he's willing to give it a shot. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's just a driver comfort feel. I talked to Denny Hamlin this morning about this moment last night for Travis Pastrana. The joy, the elation. This is a world-class athlete. And putting that car in the show last night, you could just tell by looking at Travis what it meant. And Denny said he was absolutely beside himself that they got that job done last night.
In the weeks leading up to the race, he said that's been a lifelong goal of mine, is to race in the Daytona 500. And what a great opportunity for him to get together with Denny and 2311 Racing and make that happen.
Yeah, I talked to Travis used to drive for us back when I had a team, and I talked to him one day and he said, I'm going to go jump a school bus over a river. Do you want to go? And I said, yes, definitely I want to go.
Did he want you to ride with him?
Yes.
Yeah. And you said?
I was confused. I thought I was just going to watch. And he said, okay, get in. I said, hell no. I'm not getting in that bus.
Not never.
Ever.
Hey, if you're watching at home and you want to follow closely, you want to keep score with all the changes, I give you David Gilliland's Tricon Garage. They went from Ford to Toyota, and here they are working the draft, being led by last year's Rookie of the Year. He'll be full-time this year in the 11, Corey Heim.
He showed a lot of potential in just a few starts. Wow. I'm really high on this kid. I think he's going to have a great year.
We saw the potential in the ARCA Menard series for Corey Heim. I mean, I think he only raced twice in a full year and a half and ever finished out of the top 10.
Well, wasn't it Darlington where he
his first ever truck, right?
First ever time in the truck, restarted on the front row late. I mean, at Darlington, if you do that, that's all I need to know about you. You can do that job at that tough of a racetrack, you're going to win truck races all over the place. And that's what's fun, Adam. Phil and I are blessed. When kids come up from short track late models, they stop in ARCA for a bit. Phil gets to check them out and say, all right, he's got a lot of potential. Then we get them in trucks, and you just are able to recognize right away who is going to be special, and he's one of them.
We've got three right now. The top 3 in points from the ARCA Menard series last year has moved over to the truck series, and right now top of the board is one of those guys, Rajah Caruth, in the 24 truck.
What's interesting to me, he's not the lead truck in the draft. He's one of the guys pushing, and that tells me that you're getting that toe, right, Michael?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what you look for if you want to put up a fast lap battle. You might roll off the gas, lose a couple 6 truck lengths to the guy in front of you, and then get that push from behind, and then you make up all that lap time, and it just shows you what potential your truck has to pull up, and that's really important when you're driving one of these things. Cannot pull up on other trucks, and that's what Rajah did.
And that's the beauty of these trucks, is because they punch such a big hole in the air. Most of these trucks shouldn't have much of a problem to suck up. Obviously, they want to make sure that it does well enough, but because of that big aerodynamic hole that these trucks punch in the air, it really makes it easy for the trucks behind. As you can see, all these trucks lined up to follow that lead truck.
You saw Rajah taking that 24 truck back to the garage. Let's get an update on his teammate with Jamie.
And that teammate is Daniel Dye, who does not have a time up on the board yet. He brought it back to the garage area with a problem. His crew chief, Travis Sharp, they've got the computer plugged into it right now. The engine just shut off on him. He tried to refire it, got just enough under power to get it back here, but he hasn't been able to turn a lap yet, so he's losing his very first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series session.
That's tough. Again, the anticipation, the drama of what it's going to be like, and now you're sitting in the garage instead of out on the track. But he can still be learning a lot, Phil, watching these other trucks. And we can see already when they were single file 8 or 10 trucks, they're already bouncing around sideways, down the straightaways, dancing around is maybe a better way to say it. So he's checking all that out.
I did not recognize the 52 when I was in the garage today. In fact, we always get into associating a driver with a paint scheme. I mean, the number helps, but so much of it is identifying with that sponsor and the colors. And I looked at that 52 and I'm like, who is that? Who is that? Oh yeah, it's Stuart Friesen, who's pretty good at this stuff.
He sure is. He got obviously the AIM autism on board. Such a near and dear project for Stuart. Does a lot for autism. Had a big golf tournament that we played in. He's going to have another one here in another month or so that we'll certainly play in and support, but does a lot for that. And I just love his little boy too when he's around.
And Jessica are sweet people, and so
whatever
fun.
You want to do.
So fun to see him smiling and getting to carry this paint scheme.
Inside. Nobody's coming with you yet. 98's coming with you. 16 going there. Clear low. Here comes your help with the 98. 2 wide behind us. We stalled out.
Now
I'm sorry, Michael, go ahead.
I was going to say, just multiply that by about 100, and that's what tomorrow night's going to sound like. Every move, every dance you make around this racetrack, your spotter is going to be telling you how that affected the people in front of you, behind you, beside you. Really a lot of information to digest.
That 17 of Sammy Smith looked a little bit loose to me.
Yeah, I thought
really
so
did.
too.
Sammy Smith, one of those Toyota development guys, has been on the ARCA side of things, going to run full-time in the 18 for Joe Gibbs Racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. So he's double dipping this weekend, racing tomorrow night and Saturday.
It was so impressive last year in the ARCA Menards. He's won 6 times in the ARCA Menards Series last year.
35 minutes to go in practice. Top of the board, the rookie out of Washington, D.C., Raja Caruth. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series practice underway at Daytona with Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons. I'm Adam Alexander. Ben Rhodes won this race a year ago, won the championship, new crew chief this season.
Yeah, he's in the window right there. J-Rod has moved over from the Christian Eckes team from last year. And I was talking to Ben about that, and he said, you know, Rich and I and our team had been together so long. And he said, I'm trying to learn J-Rod. Obviously know him because they were the same organization. But I want to have the same camaraderie with J-Rod and the team that I had with Rich and his guys. But I said sometimes it's good to shake things up, you know.
So you say Rich Lucius, of course, was calling the shots last year for Ben. He goes over to work with Haley Deegan in 2023. And I was talking to Rich in the garage today. He came down here last month for the Michelin race prior to the 24 hours of Daytona because he wanted to hear those two together. They were teammates. Haley and Ben were. What an opportunity. In fact, they weren't the only NASCAR stars that participated.
Yeah, Harrison Burton, Zane actually won that race. And Haley and Ben Rhodes, they're there racing side by side through the bus stop on the backstretch. But yeah, what a great effort by all 4 of those drivers. That's a battle for the lead right there with Spencer Papaley, who's an accomplished road racer that Zane and Harrison were able to beat.
Yeah, we see Spencer a lot come run the road races in NASCAR.
Sure, yeah.
Look at that, an off-season win. Man, that's nothing much better than that. That feels so good to be able to have that kind of energy as you come down here to start your truck season.
I think Amanda kicked out J-Rod. She's now leaning in the window with Ben.
I have found Ben Rhodes back here in the garage, guys, and we heard over the radio that is it a steering box that they're looking at currently underneath the hood of that truck.
Yeah, so far so good. Our Clark's Pump and Shop F-150's pretty smooth and stable. We only ran 3 laps by ourselves, so nothing too major in the draft yet. We're going to work on that next and try to go out with some familiar people that we trust, right? Practice is always a little bit risky here at Daytona, but overall I'm thrilled with the F-150 so far. It's been very stable, and that's about all you can ask for right now other than going out and trying to qualify up front.
When Phil Parsons was gracious to walk me into the garages earlier today, you told us that you wanted to avoid trucks out there in order to save this one, but you also said that you wanted to avoid some of the new talent. What do you make of this rookie class?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, right? There is a lot of new talent in the series, but there's also a lot of inexperience, right? So I walked through the garage earlier with my spotter, Frank Denny, and we just kind of picked out which trucks we think we can work with and who we think we can develop a relationship with to, you know, put ourselves in a good position in the race and in practice too. It's all about kind of managing that and managing the risk.
Thank you, Ben. Jamie?
Parker Klickerman's one of the familiar faces behind the wheel here this season. This team doesn't run full season. They're doing about 11 or 12 races depending on scheduling for the 2023. But just getting down here this week was a huge challenge for them. They had a bearing blowout on the way down here at about 1:30 in the morning, Wednesday morning in Georgia. And their truck driver, John Paul, was able to pull over. He saw the smoke. Miraculously, he himself got that fire put out, but they did not make it down into the racetrack until just this morning. All the other teams, for reference, were able to park and start unloading yesterday. But while all of that was happening, an even bigger thing going on at home for that truck driver, John Paul, his brother, Mike Light, passed away after a battle with cancer. And all of the other teams in the garage, they all came in, they helped them, offered to get them down here if they needed it. So this team racing with heavy hearts this weekend.
Thank you for that report, Jamie, and we certainly send our condolences to that organization as well. A halt in the action. Had a little issue down on pit road with a truck coming in. We'll get that buttoned up and return to green flag conditions after this. Beautiful night in Daytona Beach, Florida. Great to have you with us. Reminder, coming up later on, those qualifying races, the duel at Daytona, setting the field for the Daytona 500 on Sunday. Right now, practice for the Craftsman Truck Series. And we have extended this session beyond 6 o'clock Eastern time. We'll go to 6:05 and then send it to our Charlotte studios for race day and a preview of what's coming up later tonight. Plenty of on-track activity still ahead here at the World Center of Racing.
Got a glimpse of the Nice trucks hooked up. 3 of those trucks hooked up together, led by Carson Hocevar. When's that young man going to win a race?
Soon.
It's got to be soon.
4 runner-up.
Yes.
Without a victory. And last year, he did everything but. And I still say, one of the greatest feats I've seen, gets injured at St. Louis and comes back the next week with a broken leg, injured ankle.
On a road course.
On a road course.
Yes.
The highs and lows of Sonoma. Oh, yeah, I'll just put it on the pole. Incredible.
Yeah. What a talent he is.
How tall is he, Michael?
He's 6'6" or 7". He's taller than me, which is crazy. I remember when I raced a truck here, I had to basically cross my legs to have enough room in there. Hopefully they've stretched the trucks out a little bit.
Well, we were talking about Travis Pastrana. Travis is a fairly tall guy and trying to get used to a little bit bigger steering wheel. You had to fight that in your entire career because these trucks aren't built for people your height. Race cars. No car's ever been built for somebody your height.
Hey, look who's back on track.
Chase
the
Elliott.
board said Chase Elliott did 2 laps. We said he probably did a qualifying run, went to the house. He's a Cup champ, pretty good here. Nothing to worry about. No, he's going to go out and get a little time in the draft.
Well, like I said, Adam, even if it's just a couple of laps, you're going to learn how your truck feels and whether it dances around too much or not. Whether you need to get a little bit more aggressive with the setup, if you can figure out ways to pull more speed out of it, or if it just handles perfect, it pulls up fine. Chase will know that in a lap. He doesn't really need to run a lot of laps, but I think this is very valuable.
Hey, we love having him here in the Craftsman Truck Series, but I would also say huge kudos to him as a Cup champion for getting really involved in grassroots racing. He's doing a lot of dirt stuff now and moving all around and just trying. I'm sure it's a step for him to improve and learn, right? But it's also a way to give back, and he has become a tremendous ambassador for NASCAR.
Yeah, we were talking to Bill McAnally, his truck co-owner, and he was talking about how excited the Napa people, obviously Napa is his sponsor on Sundays in the Cup Series, and how excited they were. And they have people coming from everywhere to this weekend, obviously, but they want to be here to watch him run this truck as well tomorrow night.
You can see on the back of that Bill McAnally truck, it says Napa Auto Care. You talk about him running short tracks all over the country. That's the way these guys are, Adam. I talked about Matt Crafton earlier and how excited he was for the season to start. He went to Arizona and raced dirt races all winter long, then came down here, raced in Volusia County. He's been racing dirt just because he's got it. He wants to go. He wants to get that feeling, get ready to go. All these drivers are spending a lot of time at short tracks all across the country, letting their fans come out and see them and cheer them on.
William Byron, a perfect example, has won a couple times at New Smyrna in the World Series this week.
There goes Hocevar up on the top.
Got Lawless Allen, his teammate, right behind him.
Travis Pastrana mixing up in the draft. And you said this earlier, and this is valuable for Travis. He hasn't done this in a while. And he's being able to feel. Now, I know it's a truck as opposed to the Cup car that he's going to race tonight. But I'm telling you, this is valuable. He's feeling the track out. He's getting to see what it's like to have cars or trucks around you. That's going to pay off tonight when he goes to learn about racing and drafting in the Cup car.
How concerned about Daniel Dye? We saw the shot there of his 43 truck in the infield, and obviously some big-time problems there. How concerning is this?
I'm not so much for the truck if they can get it figured out, because he has teammates that he can lean on. But Daniel Dye finished third here at his first time ever last year in the Art Menard Series at Daytona. But they talked about how nervous he was really all winter long, or since they announced it. And here he is. Once you fire that thing up and rolled out on the racetrack, then the nerves are going to go away. Well, that hasn't happened yet because he hasn't been out there yet. So I really hate it for Daniel Dye.
And what I think, though, Adam, it's time to pull a new play out of the playbook. We're going to have to maybe start this race and be chill. Fill the trucks. Don't get in any hurry to make wild moves. Have Daniel take half the race to learn what the truck feels like, and then maybe try to go racing later.
Because I have a feeling that we'll probably see a caution flag or two.
Yes.
During the race, you think?
And I have a feeling that I'll spend 2.5 hours with my heart rate over 100 because it's just, because of the anticipation of what's fixing to happen. And, when we say what's getting ready to happen, it usually does.
And this race tomorrow night is half of Sunday, 250 miles, 100 laps. So you would say, man, that's a sprint. Until you get into it, you get into that final stage, which is 60 laps, and it seems to go on forever because of the ebbs and flows of the way things play out here.
Well, you say this race is 100 laps, 250 miles. Well, more than likely, at least 50% chance it's going to be more than that, because we've had, I think, 41 previous drafting type races here at Talladega and now Atlanta since they reconfigured that, and almost half of those have been in overtime.
I think I'm right in saying the Xfinity race here in August was scheduled for 100 laps. It went 118.
Yeah.
So just bank on it. Tomorrow we'll probably get some free racing, overtime perhaps. 20 minutes to go in practice. Carruth, Eckes, Wood, Kligerman, Purdy, the top 5. Corey Heim, one of the drivers working on pit stops. We could see some green flag stops tomorrow night. 18 minutes to go in the one and only practice prior to tomorrow night's season opener for the Craftsman Truck Series. And this practice extended beyond the top of the hour because we had some issues before things got underway. So they've given them additional track time. We'll stay till 6:05. We'll throw it to race day. And right around 7 o'clock, right back here to the track for the dual races that set the field for Sunday's Daytona 500. We're on board with the man that won it here 2 years ago, Ben Rhodes.
Yeah, Ben was obviously a guy that went out by himself and had that feeling. Now we got with some good trucks here. Chase Elliott was one of the trucks. Matt Crafton right in front of him. Looks like he was able to drive from the back of that pack to the front of the pack, and now he's backed off again to see if he can do it again.
I just love watching him work that wheel. Don't you feel? Just precisely making those little adjustments to the steering, making sure it's fluid, and he's got a good feel for how the truck goes over the bumps. You can see how technical he is with his hands as he gets down into the corner running that yellow line at the bottom. That yellow line is your friend. You want to be right on it, but if you get a little bit too low, you know, you can bottom out on that bottom of the track.
Caution's out. One stop.
Another caution's out.
Well, and that double yellow line out of bounds as well when we're racing tomorrow night. If you go down there, advance your position,
right,
you will be penalized. Last time we were racing in the draft, it was Matt DiBenedetto who claimed his first career win in the Craftsman Truck Series. He's idle right now, having an issue in the 25.
With the first lap led in his Truck Series career.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yes. He goes to victory lane.
Is it the last 4 years at Talladega the only lap the winner led was the last one?
Now wait a minute. Typically how this works is I ask you the questions and you don't know the answers. What's up with you asking me the questions live on the air and I don't know the answer here? I'm going to say yes with Phil.
I think that's correct, Adam. And you know the reason why
Tate Fogelman, we had Spencer Boyd, right, winning at Talladega.
Anytime Adam starts asking me a question on the air and the camera's not on us, I start shaking my head. Nope. I don't know, Adam.
So work the answer in there somehow.
Yeah, figure it out there how you're going to bail me out on this one.
I have confirmation it's 5, not 4. So there you go.
Well, then I was incorrect.
And I will tell you, I didn't do the research. Someone did it for me. Jamie?
Well, Daniel Dye has now come to the garage area, and this is important for the team because one of the issues that they were having when he was stuck out there on the road course was his radio wasn't working. They did diagnose the problem that they had earlier, which was the battery wire had melted. It maybe shorted something else out, so they're going to take some time and try and get him a couple of laps during this practice session, see if they can ease some of those nerves off, Amanda.
Nick Sanchez has made his way back to the garage here. Last time out, he was focusing on pit road speed, and I know that you guys are not debuting the digital dash here this weekend. You have the gauges, but when you look at the summary of your first day here in the Truck Series, what would you say about your experience so far?
Yeah, I definitely got some good reps. Definitely driving the truck, obviously, first and foremost, getting an idea of what the revs are and everything. And especially pit road speed at Daytona is huge, so playing with my lights and just working with the team for the first time, it's been good, and we'll continue to make gains before the session's over.
Well, it's no doubt that you come in here with people knowing your name as the ARCA champion. You told me that the best compliment you received was in Nashville when Jim France, Lisa, and Ben Kennedy congratulated you on that and said it made you hungrier than ever. What are your expectations on yourself this season?
Yeah, that was definitely a cool, moment in my life, and I want to try to get back there this year, but in the Truck Series, getting on mistakes. So my goal is to win week in, week out, and I'll work my hardest to do that.
Got a call from the boss man, Kyle Busch, ahead of this practice and said, minimize those mistakes this weekend, bud, and know what it takes to avoid mistakes.
You know, I would say he's got multiple bosses. You got Kyle Busch, you got the crew chief, Danny Stockman, who told me this morning he is an absolute sponge, always in the shop doing exactly what he needs to do, and that's why Sanchez has been so successful. You look at the top 10, And there's a nice flavor up there of young drivers and those with a new home this year. Christian Eckes is second. And how about some love for Parker Kligerman? When he shows up in the 75, he's always a player. Just over 10 minutes to go. It's practice for the Craftsman Truck Series live at Daytona with Phil Parsons and Michael Waltrip. I'm Adam Alexander. We're old friends. Let's talk about an old friend, Jason White, driving the one truck this weekend for Tricon Garage.
I said, Jay, what have you been doing to get ready for this? He said, I've been working out, brother. Said he's up to 5 miles running, lifting weights. Serious about this opportunity. What a great guy Jay White is. Loves racing, involved in about every aspect of marketing that you could imagine to bring these opportunities to him. Good buddy, good friend, but a tenacious competitor.
Yeah, former pole sitter here, and he's got top 5 finishes here at Daytona, so he's obviously in a great truck, Tricon Garage, so he has a shot at this thing.
That's exactly right. He knows it.
If you're wondering why we're calling him Jay White, it's because driving the 34 truck this weekend also is Jason White from north of the border. So we're trying to avoid
3,000 miles away, I would guess.
Trying to avoid confusion. Okay, this is the Jay White from Virginia. There's the 41 of Travis Pastrana. Let's listen in on team radio.
You can almost drag your brake and back up to the guy behind you, and that'll help you get the run getting back to a guy. So kind of keep that in your back pocket for the end. I'll help with that once we get racing, but at the end of the race, we'll use them to help us, you know, start moving.
Yeah, 10-4. It was a big help when there was someone behind me for sure. It just seemed like you just sucked right up to the people in front of you.
That's what's really important, and Travis hasn't done this type racing in a while. That's Stevie Reeves, experienced veteran, experienced spotter. You use that gas pedal a lot to position yourself to make those runs. You want to roll off and back up to the truck behind you as best you can so that he has to get behind you and give you that push. Travis is learning all that. It's very valuable, and some great knowledge being shared by his spotter.
And Mike Hellman Jr. is a crew chief, obviously a championship-winning crew chief here in the series, so a lot of talent there.
And there are so many elements that go into being successful at Daytona. One is the guy on the spotter stand. I mean, you have to have someone that can walk you through all those tough times. How big is this practice session for the guys up top to get back in that rhythm and flow?
Yeah, and some of them are with new drivers, so there's a different, you know, it's learning each other's lingo and what the driver wants to hear. These guys are key week in and week out. But especially at Daytona, Talladega, and now Atlanta, where the draft is such a big factor in what you in your successes.
Obviously, these guys were at the Clash in spotting. Nothing like here at this place. And I look down the list of the spotters, and it looks like about at least 75–80% of those spotters you'll have tomorrow night, obviously, for the truck race. You'll have them for the Xfinity race on Saturday, as well as the Daytona 500 on Sunday.
Hey, speaking of which, we have our Xfinity coverage Saturday here on FS1. Ryan Blaney in the booth with Austin Dillon. We've also got on the spotter stand Coleman Presley, spotter for Joey Logano, who analyzed from that angle. Always good to hear his insights, and we look forward to that broadcast on Saturday afternoon, the season opener on the Xfinity side of things.
That has all the looks of a qualifying run here for Haley Deegan, doesn't it, Phil? She was high through 3 and 4. See if she dips it down here and runs the bottom around 1 and 2. And I talked about the yellow line and how it's your friend. You can't go below that to pass. When you're qualifying, that's when you really want to get as close to it as you can, so you make the track as small as you can make it. But that's when you can lose some time if you get down and bump on that yellow line. It'll bounce your car up off the bottom, causing you precious hundreds of seconds.
And the splitter can drag too. As that truck bounces, that splitter can drag too, and that'll scrub some speed off.
It's good to see Craftsman back, isn't it?
It sure is.
So pull on the windshield.
And I will tell you, as a guy that wants to give proper love to the new title sponsor, I've said Craftsman approximately 8,000 times in the last month.
Making sure it comes out right.
Well, yes.
I just got a new Craftsman toolkit.
Ah, there you go. Tyler Ankrum in the garage, done for the day. Jamie, what do you think?
Well, that was part of his plan. They were only going to do just a handful of laps. It's a brand new slate. Really, Tyler, you said it earlier. The only thing that stayed the same was the driver and the number 16. What do you make of this first practice session?
Super happy with the truck, honestly. Felt a little darty in that first run when we went out with about 6-7 other Toyotas. Felt a little darty. Changed some toe in the front. Fixed it. I'll wait for him, sorry. But, yeah, so we fixed it. Truck feels really good. Felt solid on the up-to-go lap. Honestly, the biggest thing for me to adjust to was the digital dash. The layout's completely different. Pit road's completely different now, and yeah, like that was just weird. The first practice green flag stop, it was really weird to look at the gauge, and like it's just that's going to be a learning curve all in itself. But I'm glad we're here to learn it at Daytona.
All right, thank you for the time, Amanda.
Well, gentlemen, I heard you in the commercial break asking for Norm Benning, and guess what? You shall receive Norm Benning. And Norm, you told me off camera that you found out about this ride 2 weeks ago. How did it come together?
Tim Vaines, standing right over there, called me and asked me if I'd like to drive a truck, and I couldn't believe it. I was home just enjoying life, but this is the best thing in the world that can happen to me. It's a dream come true, you know, and G2G and all my sponsors, and I haven't done anything yet, really. I don't know what everybody's all excited about. I'm 10th fastest in practice, but that doesn't really mean anything. I want to be in the race, and once I'm in the race, then you'll see me excited.
When he talks about everyone so excited, there are probably 20 people with cameras behind us recording this interview. And what was the first thought when you head out on that track at Daytona behind the wheel of the truck?
I actually said it on the radio. I said, guys, there's nowhere in the world I'd rather be right now than right out here. I appreciate it.
71 years young, Adam.
Adam, can you feel the emotion, how cool that is? He has some great moments in this sport, but probably not one bigger than this one.
We're going to have a hard time selling the youth movement with a 71-year-old inside the top 10 only at Daytona. Two minutes on the clock for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and their only tune-up for tomorrow night's season opener here at Daytona International Speedway.
You know, one thing I love about this practice session, and again, I don't want to speak too soon, other than Daniel Dye's issues that we've seen, and he actually has not made a lap yet on the racetrack. It's been a pretty clean practice, and that's the thing you love, is you hate for them to get together and tear some stuff up and have to work most of the evening and then all day tomorrow to try to get something ready. So if we can get by this last minute and 42 seconds, it's going to be pretty clean.
Christian Eckes, opportunity here in the 19 truck. It's a good looking ride, isn't it?
Yeah, sure is.
Love those Napa colors here in NASCAR.
Talked to Bill McAnally about that. He's really excited to have Christian on board. He really thinks that Christian can take that team to the next level.
Spent time at ThorSport, KBM, but now comes over to drive that 19 for MHR. And you go back to last year, and he's driving that 98, and he was in the mix to the very end here at Daytona. I'd be shocked, especially with his teammate for the weekend being Chase Elliott, if he's not right there tomorrow.
He halfway knows what he's doing, too, I think.
Bama Buggies, Birdie's back. Great opportunity for this kid. I was going to
say the same thing, exactly.
Driving for Kyle Busch, and I asked him, what's your first memory of Kyle? And he said, well, you know, I was a Dale Jr. fan. And my first memory of Kyle was when he wrecked Dale Jr. at Richmond a number of years ago. I said, I might not bring that up to the boss man.
I don't think I'd mention that. I really would.
Like you made a little... Had some issues there of some sort.
Well, I like
just
that.
A little qualify, or not, probably just running to pit road.
I like that, too, because there's so many times if we have green flag pit stops, how many accidents as people are trying to slow down. I love the fact, get way over to the left, out of the way, and it's a straighter shot anyway to pit road. I liked what he just did.
I do, too, a lot. Had a bad angle for what he was doing. It looked like he was pulling off like he had a problem, but that's just smart, and that comes from mentorship from Kyle Busch and that whole KBM team, just saying, when you get ready to pit, like Phil said, take a left as fast as you can and as hard as you can. Get out of the way so you don't get run over. That only applies if it's a green flag stop, obviously.
Good to the last drop. Red flag is out. Truck still on track. They'll shut it down, put them in the garage, and get set for qualifying tomorrow, and more importantly, the race here tomorrow evening. And here's the top 20 from practice, top of the board, the rookie Rajah Caruth.
And how many guys on this list, Michael, do you think have the potential to win this race?
Those 10 for sure.
Those 10. How about the second page?
I would say all the way to 20th for sure, and then maybe add 6 or 7 others. You never know what's going to happen at Daytona.
Absolutely.
42 trucks here for 36 spots tomorrow. Only truck that didn't make it on track, you talked about it a moment ago, Phil, the rookie Daniel Dye. Here's what's happening tomorrow. Truck Series qualifying happens at 3. We've got Xfinity practice, of course, race day at 6:30. The truck race tomorrow night at 7:30. It's race day right now for the duel. Let's go to our studios in Charlotte.